Hi, my name is שלמה. Let me invite you on a journey, one like no other. It is not a physical journey to a different place, while it moves through time and space. It is conducted entirely as a journey inward, to ourselves. We will clear sufficient time, about an hour, and find ourselves a calm and quiet place in which we can reflect undisturbed on all that is happening to us. We will sit comfortably, relax our body, and begin our journey with our eyes closed, focusing on our breathing. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Every time we inhale, we focus on drawing new energy into our body, and every time we exhale, we focus on releasing tension, fears, anxieties from our body, and with them, all patterns of thought. We want to let go of all the tensions and anxieties in our body. We imagine that we are standing on a train platform. The train arrives. Our thoughts are the cars of the train. For one magic moment, we are looking into the cars from the outside. A car comes, a car goes. A thought comes, a thought goes. We watch our thoughts from the outside. We welcome them and allow them to go. We allow ourselves to understand that we are not captives of our thoughts. We allow ourselves to feel like witnesses of our thoughts. We watch them coming and going, coming and going, witnessing. Bit by bit, in our imagination, we start to move away from the railroad tracks. We climb up a nearby hill and look at our thoughts from a distance. The feeling of distance from our thoughts increases more and more. And we can feel clearly that we are not our thoughts. We continue to take a deep breath that releases tension and releases our hold on our thoughts. And now, as we find ourselves on the hilltop, looking toward the valley, toward our thoughts, we focus on the space, the miraculous space between our thoughts. There is a millisecond, an instant, when one thought is already gone and the other didn't arrive yet. That place that we call the space of no mind, the emptiness, that is where we begin to experience a deeper calmness, a feeling that all is okay. Everything is okay. Slowly, we begin to experience the space between the thoughts, the space of no mind, growing and growing, growing and growing. We focus our gaze on the space between our two eyebrows, the place called the third eye. And we imagine a kind of a tube that leads from the third eye inwards to our heart and stomach. We imagine that we are looking through this tube inward and that we can see everything going on inside ourselves. We give ourselves some time to look around and notice the images that come to us from within, to consider the feelings that this exercise is creating within us. We imagine that the tube leading inward widens and become cleaner and clearer with each breath. Now we look back over our lives, our past experiences, and we are going and gathering together the moments of happiness, the moments in which we felt loved just the way we are, the moments we didn't have to prove anything, we didn't have to make any effort. We let ourselves absorb the feelings of support, love, calmness, quiet, and the feeling of acceptance and unconditioned love coming from outside or arising from within. We can let go of our list of tasks and just relax. Now, out of this tranquility, we begin to feel the flow of simple joy that we feel in these moments spread to our heart, through our whole body. It could be the joy of birth, of falling in love, of climbing a mountain, or just a simple moment from an ordinary day in which we suddenly feel that everything is okay and we don't need to do anything, don't need to prove ourselves. We feel that we deserve this unconditioned love. This is our birthright. We feel that happiness enfolds us. We draw close to our lives and remember these times. They can be from when we were 1 year old, 3 years old, 20 or 30. We don't judge them. We simply go around and collect them. We gather the first ones that comes to us. Let's close our eyes and imagine them coming, more and more and more and more. We imagine that we are holding a large sack into which we put all of the happy moments and the senses that accompanied them, and that the sack is filling up more and more. After we have filled the sack, we imagine that we are passing through a dark corridor with a light shining at its end. This wondrous corridor takes us from our past to the future. We imagine that we are walking along the corridor and are heading toward the light. At its end, we allow the feeling accompanied us to float and rise, and we observe them. We may feel excitement, fear, confusion, doubt, or it may even be that we feel nothing. We focus on letting go, just letting go of all the knowledge we have accumulated in our lives, all of the titles that we hold, all of the thoughts that we arise, the old patterns of our life. We just let go of all of them. We imagine that we are carrying with us only this sack of happy moments, while internally we are divesting ourselves of our past. We allow ourselves to enter into the process of release and to walk along this corridor for about 5 minutes, while we focus on removing from our backs all of the day-to-day burdens that we carry with us all the time. At the end of the corridor, future is waiting. We make a place to fill up all the emptiness created when we cleaned ourselves of our hold on the past. And we fill it with all our dreams, We give our creativity free rein. We allow our imagination to fly to the infinite. We create our fantasy, our paradise. We open the sack of happiness that we brought with us from the past and sprinkle fragments of these feelings over the face of our paradise. We decorate it with all of the happy feelings we have experienced in our lives. We give ourselves a full range of option and complete freedom to create for ourselves everything we want and dare to dream of. We breathe deeply. We allow ourselves to relax more and more. We close our eyes while at the same time imagining ourselves walking towards our paradise, designing it as we wish, weaving into it new world and giving it its own life. What does our paradise contain? Are we in a jungle or by the seashore? Are we swimming in the sea or in a river? Perhaps we are in a desert, or it could be we are at home. We give ourselves complete freedom to create the world in which we would like to live. What colors do we see in our paradise? What shapes? What is the taste of our paradise? What smells does it have? We give ourselves time to wander through our paradise and recreate it again and again and again. We choose to feel every detail, every instant, every one of its fragrances, each of its flavors. We activate all of our senses on this wondrous journey. We pay attention to each element of our paradise. This is important for creating our desired future. We give ourselves about 5 minutes just to wander around through our paradise, to enjoy it, to smell it, to feel it, to give free rein of our imagination. We imagine that in the center of our paradise is an infinitely high ladder, a ladder that stretches from our paradise soul to the heavens. Bit by bit, we begin to climb the ladder. We climb higher and higher, shelf after shelf, inhaling and exhaling. We relax and continue higher and higher and higher. We begin to feel maybe anxiety or an excitement about the extreme height. When we are very high, all of a sudden, the skies open, and we find ourselves standing on the canopy of our paradise, in a new place, a special place, walking to the unknown, to a place we have never been, a place that is beyond our fantasy. In this place we feel slightly anxious, excited. Nothing is familiar, and we have nothing to hold on. We give ourselves a little time to look around. What exists in this place? Deep darkness? Or perhaps light? Can we notice stars twinkling from afar? Is the wind hitting us in our face? Do we feel unstable? Do we feel pain, fear? anger, joy, sorrow. We open ourselves to receive hints from our future, hints that comes from the infinite. We see maybe whether a word or many words come from the infinite to our consciousness. Perhaps one word is more dominant. We breathe deeply and stay in this place. We give ourselves about 5 minutes just to stay in the expanse over the canopy of our paradise. And now, out of the unknown, we create a figure. We create a figure in front of us. A figure that comes from the unknown, comes from the future. The figure is none other than ourselves. Ourselves in 10 years from now. We examine this figure for a moment and discover how will we look in 10 years from now? What are our facial features like? Where will we be and what will our role be on this planet? Let's take time to see this figure and experience it. Even if at first it doesn't appear or appear only dimly, we allow ourselves to stay and wait for it. Here we have a marvelous opportunity to get answers directly from our future self, from the figure that we choose to create out of the infinite, out of an infinite alternative future. During this opportunity, we allow ourselves to create a dialogue, a marvelous dialogue with our future self. We can ask our future self questions and may receive answers. We can feel our attitude towards our future self, and we can pick up hints about the path we will travel during the coming years. We may get also non-verbal messages from our future self. Let's open ourselves to the rainbow of interactions we may have with our future self. We allow ourselves to relax in this place, to breathe deeply, and to be completely involved in this experience. Just go into it, an amazing experience. The experience of encountering our future. We allow this dialogue to continue as long as we like. We open our hearts to give and receive unconditioned love to our future self and from our future self. We allow emotions to flood over us, just as we feel when we remember images from our past. We experience the feelings of this high place through which we look to the future and in essence see the infinite. After some time, we may ask our future image to show us the world in which he exists. Who are the people around him? Whom did he choose as his friend? What does his family look like? The wider society around him? And finally, what does the whole world in which our future self will live in 2020 look like? Suddenly, in a magical moment, we can see clearly the future that we are heading for and can hear the chosen future calling us. After some time, we feel as if there is a huge magnet above our heads, and many parts are arranging themselves in right way, just as pieces of iron in the presence of a magnet. The direction toward which our lives are headed is getting clearer and clearer, clearer and clearer. Bit by bit, we have enough for now. We turn around and go back down to the ladder to our paradise. To our surprise, we may discover that our paradise has changed. It may be that the fantasy itself has now different shades, different characteristics. Now it's time to choose the people we want to bring into our paradise. We can begin with the people we love, those closest to us. Or might it be that we prefer to stay alone? As we bring in the people close to us, we permit ourselves to expand our paradise and to include people from more and more and more distant circles. Until in the end, our private paradise becomes a global paradise. We take some time again and stroll through our worldwide paradise. What do we see there? What pictures come to us? What smells? What colors? What shapes? What do the people look like? How do they act? Do they love each other? When we finish our tour, we plan to join heaven and earth, imagination and reality. We begin to descend the ladder toward the earth. Bit by bit, we come back to our body and we feel our body again. We feel the place in which we are sitting. With eyes still closed, we imagine that our legs are putting down roots, heavy roots, into the earth, and are getting connected to reality with great stability. Our body is relating to its ability to digest and contain this entire journey. We count to 10 ourselves slowly and quietly, and we imagine that the descent to reality is done in 10 stages. We count very, very slowly, and we feel our body return to itself and its senses returning. 1, 2, 3. We're coming back to our bodies, coming back to reality. 4, 5, 6. We're going down and down, down to earth. Now let's imagine that our eyes closed are getting softer and softer. 7. We relax our jaws and we inhale and exhale and feel like we are one with the universe. 8, 9. We will feel that our eyes sockets are relaxed and that our gaze is more relaxed and less judgmental. Our eyes is just to contain, not to investigate, not to examine. We give ourselves time to face reality and still feel our body relaxed. When we pronounce the number 10, we lower our head and maintain our feeling of looseness. We feel that our eye sockets are relaxed and that our gaze is more relaxed and less judgmental. We give ourselves time to face reality and still feel our body relaxed. Inhale and exhale. Bit by bit, we open our eyes. As we look at the floor, we open our mouth and allow our lower jaw to be slack while looking at the floor. Bit by bit, we move our line of sight to eye level. With the music in the room still playing, we document what we experienced in the process. First, we write what did we see of our paradise. We describe it in its smallest details. We write down how we felt. We felt joy, we felt love, maybe actually anger, maybe nothing. What was there during the climb up the ladder? Were we afraid of going towards the unknown? Were we excited? Perhaps we didn't want to ascend at all. And then what happened in the unknown? What happened on the canopy of our paradise? What did we see there? Light or darkness? Stars or nothing? What hints did we receive from the unknown? What words came from the infinite? We describe our encounter with our future self. Were we happy to meet him? Maybe not. What did we talk about? What did our future self look like? How are we going to look like in 10 years from now? What hints came from him? Who was nearby? What did the society in 10 years from now look like? What did the whole planet look like in 10 years from now? Finally, we describe what did the paradise look like when we descended? What did the society look like in the new paradise? What did the world paradise look like when we came back? We give ourselves time to look it over and over and over. And from the material that was written, we will be able to proceed. After finishing this part of the process, we can turn to the next parts, which are deriving the mission, goals, and ways of behavior from our personal and social dream, and making them into an effective reality on our way to realizing our desired future. There are many methods that are carried out in the various frameworks of organizational consulting, in which each organization creates its vision, its goals, and its activities as derived from the vision. In the context of this book, we will not examine these methodologies or advise how to carry them out. At the same time, with every technique we use to create our vision, it is important to take the necessary time to carry out the above exercise. And that after diving again into the world of internal images of the future, we verify that the vision indeed tends to create our images of the future, and that there is harmony between them. In this way, we will ensure that our goals and ways of acting actually bring about the realization of our images of the future in the most effective way. When we accept ourselves as we are, we can free it because it has completed its task, and we can see the horizon clearly. We keep in mind that before the dawn, the world experiences the deepest darkness. The more that the curtains, the blinds that are found in front of our eyes disappear, the more our vision will become brighter and sharper. And our consciousness will be like a sea which can contain the whole world. And even if the confusion has increased, we will accept it with love. Remember, our vision, our desired future is already there. We just have to train ourselves to see it more clearly. When we feel ready, we can share our dreams with people close to us. When we are speaking of our personal dreams, it will be to our family and close friends. When we are speaking of a dream that touches on our professional levels, it is important to share with the people who work with us, our colleagues around us. When we have finished the process, we focus on ourselves for a minute. It is important that we do not judge ourselves, whether we succeeded in seeing more or less, whether the confusion increased or decreased, whether we were able to see our image from the future or not. The most important part of the process is to accept ourselves as we are.